go. Go.
What?
Let's go.
Go.
Yeah.
Okay, let me turn myself on. הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. 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 הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד.
Chag Sameach, everybody.
חג שמח.
We'll say Moadim Lesimcha. We should have joyous and happy festivals. So Moadim Lesimcha, everybody.
מועדים
Lesimcha. Very nice. We begin our festival service this evening for Sukkot, this festival of ingathering, this festival of Thanksgiving, on page 384 with the lighting of candles. And we call up David and Susan Ellis for Candles and Kiddush. Let's rise together.
And while they are coming up, I just want to mention that you're going to hear some different tunes, some different musaf, as just as you did for the high holidays, when there were different melodies. You remember Shema Yisroel and Mi Chamocha Bailim Adonai. So those aren't the same melodies because, of course, it's not the high holidays, but they will be a little different. So go ahead with the
And so if you can,
candle lighting.
yeah, we're on 384, 385. And
Help me perfect my ways of loving and caring. Inspire me to make myself whole, so that I may honor your name and create a world of justice and peace.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel yom tov. Baruch atah, Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'am, v'romamanu mikol lishon, v'kidshanu b'mitzvotav, v'titen lanu Adonai Eloheinu v'ahava, moadim lisimcha, chagim uzmanim lisason, et yom chag hasukot, hazeh zman simchatenu mikra kodesh, zecher letziat mitzrayim, kivanu v'acharta, v'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim, umoadei kadoshcha, v'simcha uv'sason, hinchaltanu, Baruch ata Adonai, Mikadesh Yisrael, ve'hazmanim.
L'chaim. Have a little juice. No, for you. Yeah. Both of you. And we can take our seats. As we turn to page 389, tonight, let our shelters be strung with the finest fruits of creation, love, fertility, prosperity, and wisdom. Let us promise to feed the hungry. Let our harvest bring peace. Now we can continue on page 394 as we rise together for the Baruch Hu. Let's rise.
Yalla lai lai lai, 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 yalla lai lai lai. Yalla lai lai lai. Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayers? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamevorach. Baruch Adonai Hamevorach le'olam va'ed, le'olam va'ed. Yalla lai lai lai, 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 yalla lai lai lai.
On page 397, you'll see our Sukkot reading at the bottom of the page. The colors of early evening sky blend and deepen, allowing new lights to be seen, twinkling through the branches, the promise that in darkness new light will be revealed. On the following couple of pages, we're on page 400 for the Shema.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kivot Malchito Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Shem olam va'ed. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai echad.
Please be seated. We're on page 402. Indeed, as we continue with the V'ahavta.
V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol meodecha v'hayu ha'devarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha vishinantam levanecha vidibarta bam bishivdecha bevetecha uvlechtecha baderech uvshachbecha uvkumecha ukshartam leot al yadecha vehayu letotafot beinenecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha leman tizkeru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'hitem kedoshim le'Elohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim lihiyot lachem le'Elohim ani Adonai Elohechem.
We're on page 405. Hold fast to dreams. Together, for if dreams die, life is a broken-winged bird which cannot fly. Hold fast to dreams, for when dreams go, life is a barren field covered with snow. Hold fast to dreams. On the next page, Micha Mocha.
So the Micha Mocha is one of those prayers that is often done to another tune during the holidays. So I have put this to the Hodu that we'll be singing later. So when we get there, it will be familiar. This is a very simple, beautiful melody by Debbie Friedman. So I think once you hear it, you'll be able to sing along. Micha mocha ba'elim Adonai. Micha mocha ne'edar b'kodesh. Nora tehilot o sefele. Nora tehilot o sefele. Malechutecha ra'u v'hanecha bokei ayam lifnei Moshe v'Miriam ze'eli anu ve'ameru ze'eli anu ve'ameru Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. Nicely done.
Nicely done. We have a piece of paper that was just handed out. Thank you, Heather, for that. Which is going to teach us a little bit about the Sukkah in, I think, a fun way. It's the rules of the Sukkah according to Dr. Seuss.
Woo!
No, not really. Dr. Seuss did not write this, but it sounds a little bit like what he would write. And so this is like one of those things that I enjoy. Sort of get to learn a little bit about the Sukkah in a fun way. And I thought we could have some maybe volunteers if they would like to read a stanza of this. Beth, would you mind roving around the
Oh,
mic?
it's my favorite job.
Yeah, I know.
It is.
It's glamorous.
It is my job. I feel like Vanna White.
And I think a lot of the kids want to play with it around.
All
This
right,
would be
here we
perfect.
go.
So,
Great.
yeah. So actually, you know, how about
right.
you all stand up and come over here to the front?
Oh, yeah. That would
might
be
be a little
wonderful.
easier.
So bring
Bring
the piece of paper.
and maybe
There we
line
go.
up on the front step over there.
Perfect.
That black front step over here.
Here, come on, right here. Dun, da, da, da. Here we are. Come on. Oh, Rose, we need you. All right, here we are. All right. All right, do you want to start?
Yes,
With
that'd
the
be
first, why don't you do the first verse?
Yeah.
You can build it very small. You can build it very you can build it very light. You can build it on a bike.
Oh, good.
You can build it on a ship or on
Hold on, this mic is on.
Oh, it is not on. There it is. It was. Let's do it one more time. Oh, it is dying. That is why. All right. This is what I'm going to do. Hold on.
Come on up here.
No, wait. You know what? I'm going to take my little Barbie mic,
Okay.
and I'm going to
Hold it up to them.
hold it up to them. We are nothing but resourceful. We Jews. Here we are. All right. Here you go.
Okay. You can build it very small. You can build it very tall. You can build it very large. You can build it on a barge. You can build it on a ship or on a roof, but please don't slip. You can build it in an alley. You shouldn't build it in a valley. You can build it on a wagon. You can build it on a dragon. You can make it
Schach.
would you, could you? Yes, you should.
You can build it very wide. You cannot build it on its side. Build it if your name is Kimball, Bob, or Sam, or even Tim.
Build it if your name is Sue. Do you build it? Yes, you do. From the Sukkah you can roam, but you should treat it as your home.
Very nice.
You can invite some special guests. Don't stay in it if there are pests. You can sleep upon some rugs. Don't you build it where there's bugs.
Well, I learned that lesson the hard way.
Yeah.
If your sukkah is well made, you'll have the right amount of shade. If in the sukkah it should rain, to stay there would be such a pain. And if it should be very cold, stay there only if you're bold. So build a sukkah one and all. Make it large or make it small.
Now the two of them can do it together.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Sukkot rules are short and snappy. Enjoy Sukkot, rejoice, be happy.
Yay! Great job, team.
Wow, done.
Great job. You can all sit down. That's so lovely.
That was great.
And so, as I said, Dr. Seuss didn't actually write this, but it's sort of a nice way of learning about it. And I have a couple of notes, not a lot of them I'm going to share about this little Seussical experience. You can build it very small. The smallest sukkah you can build is 22 3/4 inches by 22 3/4 inches. I don't think you'd be able to get in there, but you can build it. It's not even 2 feet, you know. Yeah, I don't think he can get in there, yeah? What? It does, and so the maximum height for the sukkah is 25 feet, though some say 30 feet is the maximum height. Is there a minimum? The minimum would be, I think, that those 2 feet basically is the minimum height. The sukkah can be several miles long. Others say there is no width that is too big for a sukkah. If we skip down a little bit, you can build it on a wagon is a fun one, right? You know, so you're actually allowed to build it on a moving vehicle, but what's the problem with building it on a moving vehicle?
It It moves.
It moves. That is certainly a tough part of it as well. It does, in fact, move. Thank you.
What are the rules with the walls? Isn't it only one can be like permanent?
One can be permanent. One wall can be permanent, but the rest of it can't be.
Because on some of it has cinnamon homes that
Yeah.
their living room literally, they have a retractable roof and they have a sconce on top of that retractable roof.
Yeah.
What loophole they get around that.
Oh, they find their way. They find a way for it. So you can have a sukkah on the top of a car, but the problem with it is then you can't drive it on the first 2 days of the holiday because first day in the Reform movement, 2 days in the other movement because it's a Chag, it's a day of no work, and so it's Shabbat rules. So you can't ride in a car on Shabbat. The same thing for the sukkah on the car. So you can't be driving along in a sukkah car on Sukkot. The same thing happens with the dragon. It's not a dragon, but a little poetic license for the rhyme. The camels, it's usually used as an example. That you can build a sukkah on the back of a camel, but you can't ride the camel because, again, the camel gets to rest on Sukkot on the first day, but the rest of the days of the holiday until the end are Chol HaMoed. They're days of where you don't have to have those same rules. So you can be in the camel sukkah in a different day. Yes?
But if you build on a camel, wouldn't it squish it? Unless you build that too big.
I think it's more the intellectual exercise, I think, more than anything else. We talked about why you can't build on it. It can't be tilted. It can't be the other way. Here's a fun part with this that I always like to mention, that in the rabbinic tradition, men are responsible for building sukkah, which is why you have Jim, Bob, Sam, or Tim. In an Orthodox setting, it might say, don't build it if your name is Sue, because women are not. They are exempt, so to speak, from building the sukkah. Exempt is different than prohibited from, but in the Orthodox movement, they often are synonymous for reasons that still are beyond me. But that being said, here it is an example of being exempt from something. In the Reform movement, we say, hey, build it. Everyone can build it, because it is a mitzvah, and we all are allowed to do positive mitzvot, the ones that are the thou shalls versus the thou shalt nots. We are all allowed to do the thou shalls in the Reform movement, and even in a lot of places in the conservative movement as well. With some of this other stuff is pretty apparent. We're supposed to live in the sukkah, make that our dwelling, but if conditions are really harsh and unpleasant, and some of that can be, obviously subjective, but if it's raining and disgusting outside, you don't want to be in the sukkah. And Maimonides even talks about if the water is coming through enough in your sukkah to thin your soup, you can go inside. If your matzo ball soups becoming really watery, go inside the house. It's fine. And in both my Texas and my Florida experiences, the sukkah can get a little mosquito-y and stuff. There's a lot of bugs out there. Again, you put on your insect repellent, but if it's really buggy out there, it's okay to go inside. It's fine. And same thing if it's freezing, though in Florida, that's not an issue. Yeah.
So do these rules come from the Torah or these rules post?
Post. Yeah. This is all rabbinic law. This is Talmudic, and really, as I've always liked to say, Maimonides is really one of the best resources for this because he lays it out really clearly. One section by one section. The holiday, yes, the holiday is from the Torah. We get it in. Yeah, we get it in Leviticus, we get it in Deuteronomy again, we get it in Exodus too, if memory serves. So we get it in at least 2 to 3 places. Leviticus is the normal reading for it, where you get the Sukkah, but you also get the Lulav etrog too in Leviticus. We get that. Or technically, that doesn't say etrog, but it's the idea is there. The 4 species are there. Any other questions? Yeah. How big can you build it? You can build it up to 25 feet, 30 feet, tall. Basically, if there was 6 of me going up, that's how tall you can build it. That's pretty tall. That's a lot of sukkah. You need a really, really big ladder. Yeah. Yeah, I think so, but the rabbi's not very spatial, so I don't know how tall this ceiling is, but pretty tall. Yaar, what's up?
How do you build a 2-foot sukkah?
Not well, I would think. It's almost like a Lego sukkah, Yep. Yeah. That's a great question. I don't know the biggest sukkah ever made. I would love to research that, actually. I wonder, because I've been in ones that have been super wide, that have been like really big on that side of it, because sometimes you're going to have something where you might have 100 people, 200 people in your sukkah, so you have to have a really big wide one. So that I've seen more than tall, but I don't have the exact dimensions. I know that you can go to like sukkahDepot.com. Not now, it's a little late because we're here already. But but you can order your own sukkah, and they have like the small ones, and they have the huge ones. They have the ones that have cloth, covering, fabric covering, and ones that are more with the wood, and they have ones with like we have here with the tarp. I don't know what it's called.
Yeah.
And the metal. Yeah, Heather, what's up? Rabbi Google is coming again to help us.
The Southwest Square Sukkah is the main sukkah in the city of Jerusalem, and the largest sukkah in Israel, which is built each year in the Southwest Square in downtown Jerusalem. It's part of the festival and goes on. It doesn't give the dimensions, but that's what we'll go for.
So in Jerusalem, you can go see the biggest sukkah in the world in Jerusalem. Where else would it be, I guess?
Right,
Of the Chassids. What? Crown Lakes.
I was gonna say.
Say
New Jersey.
somewhere in Jersey.
Jersey.
Yeah, David. Yeah. I don't know the small. I would say like I wouldn't be surprised if you had one that was like a one-person sukkah. I mean, like you can have almost like a pup tent. That's like a sukkah. Like you can do something that's fairly small and call it sukkah. You just have to put the schach on top. You have to put the wood, the branches on top.
And of course, Barbie often has a sukkah, and that is rather small. Right?
Barbie has a sukkah?
She did in my house.
Hasidic Barbie. Yeah, Hasidic Barbie. I don't think that's going to be a top seller.
No, I don't think so.
Now you got my head going in different directions. And I got to continue the service without getting in trouble. Okay, so now my head's going. Okay, so thank you all for that, for the little sukkah exploration. We're going to do a little bit on the Lulav and Etrog, our other symbol, in just a moment. But now that we discussed the sukkah, let's continue on page 408 with a prayer that talks about the sukkah, talks about God's sukkah, God's shelter of peace.
So this talks about the
You need
sukkah,
your
but it's
mic back.
Pardon?
Oh, is the mic back on?
Is it?
There we go.
Oh,
Yeah,
there I am.
There you go.
Sorry.
No, you got it.
Here we are. So this is the Hashkivenu, which you will remember from the high holidays. So you see some things bleeding in here. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu V'shalom V'hamidenu Shomreinu L'chaim Ufros aleinu Sukat shlomecha V'taknenu be'etotova milfanecha V'hoshienu L'ma'an shemecha Baruch atah Adonai Haporei sukat shalom aleinu V'al kol amo Yisrael V'al Yerushalayim.
We were talking on Friday about songs, like different music, different melodies. That Hashkivenu, and this is a niche comment here, but are there any West Wing fans here? Watched the show The West Wing before? So that Hashkivenu makes an appearance on The West Wing, on one of the first or second season episodes. It's the one with like the death penalty, and Toby goes to synagogue, and the cantor is singing that Hashkivenu in it. Random note, a little trivia just while we're here, on a laid-back service. We can talk about that later. We have, Netflix. I think we have West Wing on streaming. We can talk about that later. But it was a very emotional, evocative Hashkivenu, I think was the greater point. It wasn't singing Hava Nagila. It was supposed to be a little more serious and somber. Page 468, big jump, 468 to the festival Amidah. And so we're going to rise together on 468, continuing through 470 and 472, and maybe even more.
Adonai, sifatai tiftachu fi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu. Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov. Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah. Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanorah, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot ve'imahot, U'mevi Geula Livnei v'nehem, L'man Shemo v'yahava, Melech Ozer u'Moshia u'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen, Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh hakol atah Rav le'Hoshia, Morid hatal. Michalkel chayim bechesed, Mechayeh hakol berachamim rabim. Somech nofalim v'rofei cholim, Umatir asurim, umekayem emunato lishanei afar. Michamocha ba'al givurot, umidom elach, melech meimit umechayeh, umatzmiah Yeshua, v'ne'eman atah lahachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, mechayeh hakol. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום, יהללוך סלה, ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
Okay, we can be seated. We're on page 480. 480. Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu ya'aleh ve'yavo v'yizacher zichronenu v'zichron kol amcha beit Yisrael lefanecha letova ulchen ulchesed ulrachamim ulchayim ulshalom beyom chag hasukot hazeh. Our God and God of our ancestors, be mindful of your people Israel and recall our merit for good and grace and in loving kindness and compassion for life and peace on this festival of Sukkot. And now we say, Zochreinu Adonai Eloheinu bo letova, Amen. Ufokdenu vo levracha,
Amen.
V'hoshienu vo lechaim.
Amen.
This day remember us for well-being. Amen. This day bless us with your nearness.
Amen.
This day help us to a fuller life.
Amen.
And let's turn now to page 488. As we continue with a prayer for peace. Shalom Rav.
Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Ki ata melech Adon, לכל השלום, כי אתה מלך אדון, לכל השלום, שלום רב ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם, שלום רב ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שלום רב ישראל עמך תשים tasim leolam, tasim leolam.
We're going to turn to page 371 as our thoughts turn to our loved ones who are in need of healing. In the middle of the page, we're going to continue with Misha Berach.
Beth doesn't have any
371.
371. Beth doesn't have music.
Oh, you can fake it.
We'll do a cappella. Here we are.
Mishe Berach Avotenu Makor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen.
They should still be here.
I got him.
Okay.
We are thinking of at this time of healing Pat Adamson, Eric Adler, Raymond Douglas Alcorn, Dr. Marty Bilo, Evan Bin, Rosemary Buckwalter, Ann Cole, Richard Corwin, Mark, Mickey, Benjamin, and Brian Edelstein, Danielle Heyman Feist, Eric Fisk, Z Fisk, Philip Gelman, Bob Gold and Carolyn Gold, Jennifer Gousset, Barbara Green and Buddy Green, Marvin Hollander, Stuart J., Robert Jaffe, Lori Cattleman, Doris Kirshner, Wendy Sugarman Krosnoff, Dr. Hank Corin, Dr. Sonia Linky, Michael Lynch, Dolores Munsick, Ruth Polar, Gloria Rodeski, Lee Siegel and Stacy Siegel, Dr. Cindy Steinman, Pete Tanner, and Fred Truex. Is anyone else thinking of someone today who would like to mention a name for a prayer of healing?
Sydney Altner, Linda Altner, Amanda Ford, Chrissy Lane, Christine Hill, Seleneva Chow, and Fred Mayo.
Shelley Goldstein. Georgiana.
Leo Griffin.
And we add those names to those who are being spoken aloud of and thought of at home as we conclude with
Mishe Berach Imotenu Makor HaBracha Le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
We're going to pause now for a moment of silent prayer and reflection.
Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, imru amen. Ya'aseh shalom, Ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, Ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, Ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, Ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
Wonderful. So we talked about the Sukkah already, one of our symbols of this holiday of Sukkot. This time we think about the Israelites who were wandering around in the wilderness and they couldn't have a permanent home in the middle of the desert, right? So they needed to have tents, they had to have structures that they can build and take down whenever they were on the move. So that's why we have our Sukkah, our permanent structures that we're supposed to live in or dwell in for, the duration of the holiday. So that's one of our symbols. What's the other symbol of Sukkot? Etrog and Lulav. And so, straight from Brooklyn, we have our Lulav. I'm going to tell them the willow is a little bit off this year. The willow is nice, but
Every one of the branches are always on.
I don't know. I think I lost a willow branch, but
There we go.
it's always good to have a backup. There we go, a backup lulav. Okay, so this is the lulav. It has 3 parts. This big part in the middle is the palm. Very good, the palm frond. On this side over here, the other one. Yeah, there we go. And this side is willow. Very good. And then to make it complete, we have dun 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 dun. It's a nice looking etrog this year.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, nice looking etrog this year. Very good. This is the deluxe edition. I have the premium and the deluxe, so and so this is. I didn't spring for the supreme. It's inflation. It's too much money.
Right, God understands.
It is actually. I'm joking off it, but it is seen as a mitzvah to get like the biggest etrog you can find. Like there are stories in the the tradition about like the search for like the biggest etrog, because that's seen to be a really positive thing to have a gesunte etrog. I'm not sure why that's so important, but nonetheless, it's considered chidur mitzvah that like it makes the. So when you do a mitzvah, like that's already a nice thing to do, it's a good deed. But if you do it with a little bit of flash, a little bit of style, a little bit of excess, it's seen as a good thing sort of as well, which is why you have this tradition of getting like huge etrogs. Because any etrog will do as long as it's a kosher etrog. But the idea of it being a bigger one is seen as, oh, my etrog is better than your etrog. I don't know. I don't buy it, but that's okay. So those are the 4 different parts of our lulav. We have the 3 here, and the etrog itself makes 4. And we have, as we mentioned before, it's commanded in Leviticus that we take up, these different plants in the etrog, and we use them to what? We shake them all around, to show that God is everywhere. For those who are wondering, why we're shaking around foliage everywhere, aside from it being in the Bible, in the Torah, it probably dates back to an earlier pagan practice of just like nature and giving thanks. It's sort of likely a connection even before, Jewish tradition, this idea of, not worshiping nature, but the giving thanks for, nature. And if you want to learn more about Sukkot and its origins, Jewish magic and superstition in January. Cheap plug for my January adult ed class. So we'll be doing that at that point. So the lulav and etrog, we have a lot of different meanings and symbols for them. Well, first, number 1, we have 1, 2, 3. It's a very, and then of course the etrog makes 7, so it makes it complete, with 7 distinct pieces. The lulav itself, the center frond is the biggest one. Then we have the myrtle, which has a nice smell, and the willow has no smell and no taste. You put it on the right side, myrtle has an R in it, so it goes on the right. Willow has an L, it goes on the left. There are 2 L's in willow, there are 2 willow fronds, and you need to do something else, so that's fine too. I don't know why there's 3, but this is all just like the way to remember making a lulav, how to do it, because I was there in the morning today putting 6 of these together, so I can remember how I put them together. And then we talk about the symbolism of, and there's a lot of different ways to describe, to explain why we have these different objects. I'm going to go with the 2 most popular explanations because I enjoy them and I think they're really important and they have a good meaning for all of us today. That they're compared to parts of the body. So the willow is the lulav, the palm frond is what? The spine. Very good. The myrtle is the eyes. They're small. They're the eyes. The willow is bigger, and that's the lips. The willow is the lips. And then the etrog is the heart. That is right. It is the heart. And so the reason why we have this is the idea that we have to have a strong spine. We have to have courage to sometimes do what is right. It's not always easy to do the right thing. And so we have to sort of be brave and strong and courageous. And like the palm is strong, our spines have to be strong. We have to be courageous to do the right thing. For the myrtle, the ones with the eyes, we have to see what's going on in the world, and we look at it I look at that at least in 2 different ways. One is to see all of God's wonders, in the world, and also to see maybe things that aren't so great that we need to fix. And so we need our eyes to sort of do and see what's going on in our world. The willow, the lips to speak out against injustice, and also to speak words of kindness and love as well. And then, of course, the heart to have compassion, to have love, for each other, for ourselves, and for the world. And we put all these together, right? And that makes it, we put them all together to show that we need our hearts, our spine, our lips, our eyes to go out and do good in the world. When we have all of them together, all the right intention, we make the world a better place. The other idea for the lulav and etrog is that they represent different kinds of people, the lulav and etrog. And so for the, they say they're people who have learning, they're very learned, they're very smart, but they don't do anything in the world that's particularly very helpful or any good. You have people who do a lot of good deeds in the world, they do a lot of good work, but they don't know anything from the Torah, the Bible, the rabbinic tradition, they don't have any knowledge in that same way. And you have some people who have both wisdom and they have good deeds, and some people who got nothing, and they don't have good deeds or wisdom, okay? And so the willow represents the ones who got nothing, because the willow doesn't have a taste and it doesn't have a smell to it. It's just sort of there. The palm frond does not have a smell, but its fruit, it's a little cheat. The fruit has a taste, and so... Yeah, a little taste. And then here we have the myrtle that has a really nice smell, but no taste at all. And then the etrog has a smell and a taste. So that represents the one who has everything, is the etrog. You don't really eat an etrog. You can, by the way, use it for food. You can make candied etrog out of the skin. You can do that. And you can make candied etrog fruit. And if you're 21 and over, you can sort of make other spirituous beverages with etrog, I've heard. And sometimes you find etrog perfume, because again, it has a nice smell. And so the etrog can be used for food. I wouldn't recommend it. Yeah. R.
Can you just use it as a food, go to Publix and buy etrog?
No, they're not sold in Publix. I have to special order them from Brooklyn, as I mentioned. And they get it from Israel. So, no, it's not gonna because it's not gonna really taste good. It's a citrus, so to speak. It's a citrus, but you can't really.
Doesn't taste good.
Doesn't taste. So you can do something different with it, but you can't really eat it straight. So anyway, with all that said, we turn to 571. Oh, sorry, I needed to finish the greater point, which was that you have all these different kinds of people, like in the world, right? And some that have a lot of learning, but maybe they don't do a lot of good deeds. Some people have good deeds, not a lot of learning. Some people who have both, and some people who are just sort of day-to-day living in the world a lot either. But during Sukkot, we think about all of them and we bring them together. And that's the whole thing, is that it's about inclusion, is that, you know what? One person doesn't have everything, but all of us together, there's a value in each of us individually, but there's a greater value when we're together, when we're working as a community, and we include and incorporate everybody, because then we can even rub off on each other a little bit maybe. Maybe we have a different, person who has maybe less learning, learns a little more, someone who's less accustomed to doing good deeds, who does a little more good deeds, et cetera, et cetera. So it's about bringing people together. Sukkot is that holiday of ingathering, right? It's a holiday of inclusion, of welcoming, right? And so it's about how do we come together as a community. And so that's one of the things I think about when I bring Lulav and Etrog together. On 571, he gives a little bit of instruction on the bottom, right? So the Lulav is in the right hand. And the etrog is face down, and face down here is the pitom is over here. That's the top. That's the stem over here. The pitom is on top. If this breaks off, the whole etrog is inviolable. It's not kosher, so you have to get rid of it. But if that's attached correctly, you can use it. It's held down until we say the blessing. And so we're going to say the blessing for Lulav and etrog. Beth, you want to?
Did you want to do Hoshea?
No.
Or you don't. All right, there we go. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu al netilat lulav.
And then you spin it around.
And we also say, Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Shehechianu, V'kiyamanu, V'hikiyanu lazman hazeh.
And so after we say the blessing, we shake the lulav, and it goes into the 6 different directions. We're going to pretend facing forward is east. It's not. East is, I think,
It's right over there.
one of those directions, but I'm just going to go forward here. So, and we shake, and we shake. We shake, and then up, and the last one, you never point the lulav down. You actually go down, and you shake, but you don't point the lulav down.
Interesting.
It's interesting. It's a little factoid for us all. So why? Because it's a custom that the lulav, since it is a symbol of God's presence being everywhere, the idea of God being beneath us leads to some issues. If we want to think from that theological perspective, and so that's one of the reasons. I mean, it's more of a custom, Bobmeister in its way. Once again, a little back to Jewish magic and superstition, but there was an issue with the perception that perhaps who we're praying to. So, if we shake the lulav underneath. Okay, but that's a great question. So now we're going to turn to page 560. 560. We're taking a little tour of the prayer book today. We have Hallel. Hallel is a collection of psalms. Hallel means praise. It's a collection of psalms that we read during the holidays. It's another way of, again, hidur mitzvah, of making the mitzvah, the festival, celebration even nicer by singing these celebratory psalms. We're not going to do all of them. I think we're going to do 2 psalms here on 565. But first, we've got to do the blessing on 560 for the Hallel.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech ha'olam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu likro et Hallel.
So now we're on 565. We're doing Psalm 118.
So this is, you see it starts with Hodu, and we already learned the tune. We're all ready to go. Hodu l'Adonai ki tov, ki le'olam chasdo, ki le'olam chasdo. Yomarna, Yomarna, Yireh chasdo. Sing praise to God, for God is good. Ki leolam chasdo. Yom Arna, Yom Una, Yir Adonai, Ki leolam chasdo, Ki leolam chasdo. We are also going to do one more. It is also part of Psalm 118, and this is by my friend and schoolmate, Rabbi Joe Black, and it is called Pitchu Li, and I need my ladies to come up to help. Could I have my 4 ladies come up? They're going to help us with this so that we have the words. We're going to teach you the chorus of this. Come on, come on. All right. So I need one person holding this, Pitchu Li. Everybody say Pitchu Li. Sharai Tzedek.
Share said.
Whoops. All right. Avoyam. Odeya. One hand is perfect. All right, good. So I've always said sharai. Do you think it's sharai? Is that what I should say?
I don't think. Yeah,
I know,
share.
you know it. Sharai.
Yeah,
All right. So
It's a V, vom.
No, right.
Yavo vom.
it's what?
Vom.
Vam.
Vom.
Here is how this goes. I have to do. Sorry. Pitchu li sharet tzedek. Try that. Pitchu li sharet tzedek. Avovam. Say that. Avovam. Odeya.
Odeya.
Pitchu li sharet tzedek. Avovam. Odeya. Let's try the whole thing. Pitchu li sharet tzedek. Avovam. Odeya. It repeats. Pitchu li sharet tzedek. Avovam. Odeya. So you all stay up there. We're going to hit. I'm going to sing the verses, and you all are going to come in. And the whole thing about this song, what and why we're singing it, is there is something at the end of Yom Kippur where we say the gates are closing, but it turns out we have a little more time, right? A little more time. We actually have until Simchat Torah.
Yeah, why not?
Right, sure. And so this one says, hey, God, open the gates of righteousness and I will walk in. So if during Yom Kippur you had not fully decided to choose life and have a great year and do the right thing, you still have time, and this song, that's what it talks about.
I like it.
Open the gates of justice. Open the gates for me. Open the gates of righteousness. Pitchu li. Open the gates of freedom. Tell me, what are we waiting for? It's your turn. Pitchu li. Sharet tzedek avovam. Odeya. Pitchu li. Sharet tzedek avovam. Odeya. Lock up the gates of hatred. throw away the key. Open the gates of justice. Pete Cooley. Open the gates of tomorrow. Yes, we've traveled oh so far. Pete Cooley. Sharat Zedek Avovam. Odeya. Pete Cooley. Sharat Zedek Avovam. Odeya. Okay, here comes the bridge. It's my favorite part. Evan Maaseh Habonim. Haya LaRosh Pina. Evan Maasu Habonim. Hayta LaRosh Pina. Open the gates of justice. Open the gates for me. Open the gates of righteousness. Pete Cooley. Open the gates of freedom. Tell me, what are we waiting for? Pete Cooley. Sharat Zedek Avovam. Odeya. Pete Cooley. Sharat Zedek Avovam. Odeya. Let's break it down. Pete Cooley. Sharat Zedek Avovam. Odeya. 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 Thank you, and thank you for our lyric holders.
That was fantastic.
Wasn't that fun?
That was a great one.
I love his one.
I don't think I've heard that one before.
Woo!
That one I really liked.
All right, thank you, ladies. You can either keep those if you'd like to have a memento of tonight's service, or you can give them back to me. Either way.
Let's do that next week at religious school. Let's do
What?
that next week at religious school.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that again.
We will, absolutely.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Okay.
Thank you. Yay.
I like that one a lot. Okay, on 586, let's rise together for Aleinu.
Oh, give me 1 minute.
Yeah.
Okay, here we are.
We're moving forward.
We're moving fast. All right, here we go. Aleinu לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשינו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
Take our seats. We're on page 598. As we think of those who have passed on from this world, we are in the Shloshim period, the memory of Fran Brickman and of John Conway. And we also think of those who have died in this past year. We have Sid Bolin, Joan Keller, Leo Weintraub, Nina Stegg, Janet White, Phyllis Krause, Phyllis Ullman, Sheila Buckwalter, Bob Mansfeld, Albert Gart, Barry Dabowski, Ann Blumenkrantz, Shirley Matler, Richard Clausen, Mary John Resch, Liesl Schick, Jay Roth, and Michael Verub. And we also think of those who died this season in years past. Milton Abrams, Robert E. Burnham, Leonard Burstein, Stephen Lee Cantor, Sylvia C. Cohen, David F. Davis, Irving Dribbin, George Eastman, Terry Ginsburg, Mrs. Irene Glassberg, Jacob Gluck, Ida Gordon, Benjamin Green, Louis P. Geiberd, Rosa Harris, Harry B. Hoffman, Peggy Filer Eagle, Peretz Karp, Minnie Kreisman, Shirley Krause, Michael Lawrence Levitt, Claire Lynn, Harry Mintz, Louis Palmer, Edith Posnack, Nathan Rosenberg, Harry A. Rowan, William Safer, Michael Todd Schnur, Lily Schumann, Harold Schneider, Norman Schumann, Dorothy Steinberg, Ruth Title, Sheldon Treiser, Nathan Tudor, Bernard Weinberg, Edith B. Weinstein, Sarah Weissglass, Lillian Weiss, Abraham Werner, and Fred Werner. Is anyone saying a yurtzeit, Kaddish for any reason?
Snowy, my parents' pet bird.
Let's rise together. 598, Kaddish Yatom, the mourner's Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, bi'alma devra cherutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, b'agala v'izman kari v'imru amen, yehei shemei Rabbah mevorach le'olam l'almei elmaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei dekudesha barichu, Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushvechata v'nechemata da'amiran bi'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shalom rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, huya aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us, to Israel, and all of the world. As together we say, Amen. Please be seated. Sandy, do you have any announcements you want to make, or are you good? Excellent. Ditto, same thing, yes. Just a quick one. We do have Simchat Torah services next week, Sunday at 6 o'clock. Dinner, 7 o'clock service. It is Torah and Thai. Please check your emails tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow. I think we'll be getting an email about it with an RSVP. And so we know how much Thai food to buy. So, you know. Looking for some volunteers, those watching at home, to help out with setup and all that other good stuff for Simchat Torah. We're also going to have consecration that day. We're going to have Kabbalah Sidur that day, where the kids receive their prayer books. It's all going to be lovely. And then pet blessing on the 23rd. So
That'll be fun.
a lot of good stuff. A lot of good stuff going on. With all that, Oneg should be outside. So in the courtyard again, for those who want to have a little bissel to eat after the service, and for those who want to shake lulav and etrog, we'll be doing that in the sukkah after the service.
So we're going to be looking forward a little bit to Simchat Torah. We're going to end tonight with Al Shlosha Divarim, an old favorite. Al Shlosha Divarim, Al Shlosha Divarim, Al Shlosha Divarim, Haolam, Haolam Omein. Al Shlosha Divarim, Al Shlosha Divarim, Al Shlosha Divarim, Haolam, Haolam Omen. Al HaTorah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al gilut chasadim. Al HaTorah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al gmilut chasadim. Oh, right.
Okay, let's all rise together for Motzi.
Hamotzi lechem min haaretz, We give thanks to God for bread. Our voices rise in song together as this joyful prayer is said. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz, v'te'avon. Yes, Chag Sameach. Here, I'll play you out. Al shlosha divarim, al shlosha divarim,
If I could get a happy helper to grab a lulav and bring it to the sukkah.
shlosha divarim, haolam, haolam,
No, not you.
haolam.
My cute boy.